The scream dies in her throat before it can escape. Not because she is brave, not because she has accepted her fate, but because the gag, woven from papyrus reeds and soaked in oil, has been forced so deep into her mouth that even breathing has become a deliberate act. She hangs, suspended, in the temple's hidden chamber, a room that exists on no map, a space carved beneath the sanctuary floor where the stone remembers centuries of suffering. Her arms are stretched above her head, wrists bound to iron rings embedded in the ceiling. The position is ancient, deliberate. It forces the ribcage to expand, the lungs to labor, the body to exhaust itself simply by existing. She has been here for 3 days. The high priestess enters without sound. Her sandals make no noise against the polished floor. She carries a clay vessel, unmarked, sealed with beeswax. The girl's eyes follow the movement with animal awareness, the kind of focus that comes when pain is the only language left. The priestess sets the vessel on a bronze table. She does not look at the girl. She never does. This is not cruelty. This is ritual. The girl was discovered 2 weeks ago in the garden courtyard, her hand clasped with a young scribe's. They were not touching inappropriately. They were simply touching, palm to palm, fingers intertwined. A moment of human warmth in a life designed to erase such things. Someone saw. Someone always sees. What crime demands punishment worse than death? And why do the gods who preach mercy permit such suffering in their own houses? The Temple of Hathor at Dendera rises from the desert like a stone prayer. Its columns stretch 30 feet high, carved with the goddess's face, cow-eared, eternally smiling, painted in pigments that gleam even in shadow. Lapis lazuli blue, ochre gold, blood red. The colors cost more than most families earn in a lifetime. Inside, the air is different, cooler, heavy, with the weight of divine expectation. 73 virgins serve here. They are called the Hemet Netche, servants of the goddess, chosen between the ages of 6 and 10, identified by priests who travel the gnomes searching for signs, a birthmark, an unusual eye color, a child born during a solar eclipse, a girl who speaks her first word late, suggesting she listens more to gods than humans. The selection is meant to making sound. Silence is the first lesson. Obedience is the second. By age 12, they are promoted to the inner sanctum. Here they tend the goddess's statue. They dress her in fresh linen each morning. They anoint her stone lips with honey. They burn offerings, incense, bread, flowers, while chanting prayers so old that even the priests no longer know their original meaning. The high priestess oversees everything. Her name is Meretzager. She is 53 years old and has served Hathor since childhood. Her face is unreadable, smooth as temple marble, eyes like painted coal that never blink. She walks the corridors at night, listening, always listening, for laughter, for whispers, for the sound of girls forgetting what they are. The rules are absolute. No virgin may touch a man. No virgin may speak of desire. No virgin may leave the temple grounds without escort. No virgin may question the rituals, even when those rituals leave bruises. Especially then, because purity is not a state of being, it is a discipline, and discipline requires correction. The older girls know this. They have learned to sleep lightly, to wake without sound, to recognize the footsteps of the priestess before she arrives. They have learned which stones in the corridor floor are loose, which shadows offer hiding places, which prayers to recite when pain becomes unbearable. They have learned that the goddess does not intervene. In the temple's administrative wing, scrolls record everything. Inventories of grain, dates of festivals, names of donors, and in a locked wooden chest, accessible only to the high priestess and the temple's chief priest, another set of records. Punishments. The list is long, detailed, clinical. 3rd month of Arket, year 12. Neferet, age 15, caught humming a love song. 20 lashes. Survived. 1st month of Peret, year 14. Sat Hathor, age 16. Found with a clay figurine of a man hidden beneath her mat. Fingers broken. Reassigned to laundry duties. 4th month of Shemu, year 15. Meritamon, age 14. Resisted purification ritual. held underwater until unconscious, recovered after 3 days. The records do not explain why these punishments are necessary. They simply confirm that they happened. Office. His hands were stained with ink, black and red, the colors of life and death in Egyptian script. He had been copying religious texts since age 12. His fingers cramped into the same position for so many years that they curved naturally around a reed brush, even in sleep. He was not supposed to speak to the virgins. No man was. But the temple is vast, and supervision, despite the high priestess's vigilance, has gaps, moments, cracks in the divine order where human nature seeps through like water through limestone. They met in the garden courtyard during the festival of Wepet Renpet, the opening of the year. The temple was crowded with pilgrims, nobles, merchants seeking blessings. The virgins had been assigned to distribute sacred water, moving through the crowds with clay cups suspended from shoulder yokes. She stumbled. The yoke slipped. Water splashed across stone. Kenty caught the vessel before it shattered. His hand brushed hers, just for a moment, and their eyes met. That should have been the end of it. But he returned the next day, and the day after, always finding reasons to pass through the courtyard when she was present, dropping a scroll near where she stood, asking directions he already knew. Small transgressions, meaningless almost, except that nothing in a temple is meaningless. By the 3rd week, they had developed a language without words. A glance held 1 second too long. A deliberately dropped flower that he would retrieve. Her fingers brushing the same pillar he had touched moments before, as if absorbing the warmth his palm had left behind. It was not lust. It was lonelier than that. 2 young people trapped in a machine of divine service, recognizing in each other the same silent scream. I exist. I am more than this role. I am human. On the morning of the 4th week, during the hour when senior priestesses conducted private rituals in the inner sanctum, they were alone in the garden for perhaps 5 minutes. He spoke first. Do you have a name? His voice was barely a whisper, terrified of its own audacity. She hesitated. The virgins were forbidden from sharing their birth names. They were given temple names, epithets of the goddess. Hathor obedience. She hated the girl, not for any personal reason, but because youth itself was an insult to those who had sacrificed it. Ismeret's voice cut through the garden like a bronze blade through papyrus. Remove your hand from the sacred one. Kenty jerked backward. Nefertari's face drained of color, a process visible even through her sun-darkened skin, as if the blood itself was fleeing. It was nothing, Kenty stammered. I was only silent. Isetweret's eyes were on Nefertari now. You will come with me. The walk through the temple corridors felt endless. Nefertari's legs moved mechanically, her mind unable to process the enormity of what was coming. Other virgins pressed themselves against walls as they passed, eyes downcast, grateful it was not them. Kenty was taken separately, dragged by temple guards to the administrative wing where his father worked. The chief priest would deal with him personally. His punishment would be swift. Public humiliation, reassignment to a distant quarry. His family's reputation scarred, but not destroyed. Men, after all, were not held to the same standard. For Nefertari, the high priestess Meret Sega was summoned immediately. The judgment chamber was small, windowless. 3 oil lamps provided the only light, casting shadows that seemed to breathe against the walls. Meret Sega stood with her back to the door, hands folded inside her sleeves. You were touched. Nefertari's voice broke. It was only my hand. We did not. The body is not divisible. Meret Sega's tone carried no anger, no emotion at all. It was the voice of someone reciting mathematical facts. A finger touched is a body defiled. A hand held is a vow broken. You are no longer pure. Please. Tears now, hot and shameful. Please. I have served faithfully. I have never. Which makes this betrayal worse. Meret Sega finally turned. Her face was ancient in the lamplight, carved from the same stone as the temple itself. Faithfulness means nothing if it collapses at the first temptation. You have proven yourself weak, and weakness in a sacred vessel makes the vessel useless. Nefertari fell to her knees. I will do anything. You will undergo purification. The word hung in the air like smoke. Purification. It was a term every virgin knew, but Temple's theology. Purity is binary. You are whole or you are defiled. There is no middle ground, no forgiveness, only correction. And correction in the house of the goddess has always required suffering. The purification chamber smells of copper and myrrh. A narrow space beneath the main sanctuary, lit only by 2 oil lamps suspended from chains. Their flames tremble as if in dread. The walls sweat with condensation, streaked with old soot, the residue of centuries of offerings and pain. Nefertari is laid upon a slab of black basalt, wrists bound in linen, ankles strapped with leather. The bindings are not to restrain her, they are part of the rite, symbolic fetters meant to bind the impurity. Yet when the high priestess arrives, even symbolism begins to bleed. Meretseger stands above her, a copper bowl in her hands. Inside, the mixture gleams dark red, a blend of palm wine, natron, and crushed carnelian, believed to drive sin from flesh. The scent burns the throat. She dips her fingers into it and draws lines along Nefertari's body, across her chest, her forehead, her lips. Let the goddess consume what is impure, she whispers. The chant begins, low, resonant. Each syllable vibrates through the stone like the pulse of a buried heart. 2 under-priestesses turn the brazier, letting smoke coil around the slab. The fumes sting Nefertari's eyes. She tries to turn her head away, but a hand presses it still. Then the oil, it is poured over her skin, thick and cold at first, then searing as it reacts with the natron. Her body arches. A muffled cry escapes the gag, echoing against the walls like an animal sound. The priestesses do not flinch. Pain is purification. Suffering is proof. Outside, the temple bells toll the evening prayer. Their sound drifts down through the vents, serene, holy, masking the small human noises that rise from below. By dawn, the ritual is complete. Meretseger orders that Nefertari be left to rest in the chamber overnight. Let her sleep beside her sin, she says. When the acolytes return the next morning, the slab is empty. The bindings are intact, the door still sealed. Only a faint trace of ash remains where her body had lain. The priestess declares it a miracle. Collapses during worship, crushing the foot of a priest. A jar of sacred ink bursts open without cause, staining scripture with crimson blotches that resemble spreading veins. The chief priest falls ill, raving in delirium about hands pulling him downward whenever he kneels to pray. Meretseger maintains control, but her eyes grow darker. Sleep eludes her. She walks the temple at night, hearing things she cannot explain. A whisper in the dormitory, the echo of a name no one will admit to speaking. Nefertari. On the 12th night, during the ritual of renewal, the incense smoke gathers thickly in the sanctum. It curls around the goddess's statue, obscuring the carved smile. Meretseger lifts her hands to bless the offerings and freezes. The statue's eyes glisten. For a heartbeat, the stone seems wet, as though tears of resin slide down its cheeks. The lamps flicker out. Darkness swallows the chamber. When the light returns, Meretseger is on her knees, trembling. The other priestesses rush forward. She cannot speak. She only stares at her hands, red-stained, though she has touched nothing. By dawn, she orders the temple sealed to outsiders. The goddess is displeased, she announces. No pilgrim may enter until the omen is interpreted. But interpretation never comes. One by one, the virgins begin to vanish. Some sent to remote meditation, others transferred to unseen duties. Within a year, the temple's ranks have thinned by half. Local farmers whisper that the goddess demands more than prayer now, that she feeds on those who serve her too closely. The Temple of Hathor stands proud in sunlight, but beneath its stones lies a secret graveyard of names erased from record. Only the wind carries their memory. Faint cries, woven into the desert's breath. And in the sealed purification chamber, when the moonlight finds the cracks between stones, it sometimes catches a shimmer, as if oil still glistens there, waiting. Was it divine punishment, human cruelty, or something older than both? A truth buried in ritual and called holiness. Centuries have passed. The temple lies in ruins now, half swallowed by desert. Wind moans through the broken columns. Stone. The oil still seeps, slow, viscous. And when touched by torchlight, it glimmers red. Perhaps it is only residue. Perhaps it is something else. Something the desert could never bury. In every age, the line between devotion and cruelty blurs. The same hands that offer prayers can inflict pain in the name of gods who never answer. And the same silence that once filled those temple halls still echoes today, in different tongues, under different roofs. Faith demands obedience, but at what cost?